When I was sold this 09 Subaru Forester, I was told it only needed a turbo. But if you've been in this industry, you know, it never just needs one thing. We are back on Hustle of the Week, and it is time for me to get this thing out of my life. So today, we're gonna take care of the issue. Now, you might be thinking, Colin, have you actually properly diagnosed this thing? And the answer is no. I just assume I'm right most of the time, and I generally am most of the time. Not talking shit, I just have so much experience in it. So my bet is this thing has cracked ring lands. I put a turbo on it and it still smokes. What's up, Mama Gato? So today, here's what we got going on. We're gonna pull the motor out and toss in some brand new standard size pistons. Unlike the Cummins, this should go well, unless it doesn't, but that's for later. That's for us to all find out together. I generally can shove pistons in these in 24 hours. So I'm gonna show you guys how we hustle around here. As of right now, I have not touched this car. I need to charge the battery. So that's at idle, which doesn't look bad, but it's bad. You know what? In case you didn't see part one, I'm gonna take it for a quick little rip and show you guys. Let's give it a little pull. Oh, that's so bad. Woo! Yeah, she's definitely blown up. So let's get the motor out and see what the pistons look like. I'm gonna level with you guys. It just turned off right now pulling in, and the oil pressure light was flickering. So I probably shouldn't have taken it on that test drive to show you guys the smoke. So depending on the oil, we might split the block and take a look at the rod bearings. We'll figure that out later. For now, let's get hustling. Time is money, so let's go ahead and get into the engine. Now, if you're wondering how to pull a Subaru motor, I did a very in-depth how-to video. I'll link it right here. Now, that is for a non-turbo. This is a turbo. It's pretty much the same package, so I don't see a point to do a separate video for it. Key points would be pull the oxygen sensor so it doesn't crash into the frame rail and break. And the rear tranny bolts right by the turbo, those suck because there's a turbo in the way. This one specifically is the biggest pain. Other than that, pretty simple. Put some in your turbo so no bolts go down in there. Also in the intake too for install. I think our turbo's doing good. This was flooded before. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on a stand, pop it inside the shop. So to do that, I need to remove all this crossover. I could do that in the shop, but it weighs a lot, and going up that step right there is sketchy, to say the least. So I'm gonna drop that amount of weight. The turbo's fine just hanging here. The oil lines support it enough. And I also need to drop off the flex plate as well as these two covers that are our wrist pin access to replace the pistons. I kinda am leaning towards splitting the block because this is time number 2 I've had this engine out. There ain't gonna be no time number 3. But once again, still undecided. We definitely got to get those rear covers off. So let me just show you guys how to do that. The main point is you want to take something and pound those bolts, because if not, you're just going to strip the Allen. I can promise you that. Same with the Phillips.
oil's still warm.
Yeah, we're definitely splitting the block. I do not trust the fact that this motor's been through 2 turbos. The original shop put one on. I put one on. This thing's been chooching some metallic metal, and we're not chancing it. You gotta weigh the risk versus the reward. Right now, the risk is I gotta find another EJ255, and those are like $2,000. And the reward is I save about 5 to 6 hours of labor splitting the case and going through bearings. So we're splitting the case, we're going through bearings. I'm gonna go ahead and break it down to a bare long block. By that, I mean I'm gonna strip timing covers, intake, timing belt, coils, oil pan, motor mounts, just all the stuff that it's dressed with. My focus is showing you guys the long block work, not the other crap. So I'm gonna take all this stuff and put it right there. And I threw some of it up there. But anyway, we are stripped down to long block. Now I can remove the heads and the oil pump. I wanted to show you guys the front main seal, which I just replaced. And now that I remember, the old one was pushed out. I thought they just didn't set it right. But as you can see, this one's out too. And I definitely set it right with the genuine Subaru seal. So the positive crankcase ventilation pushed it out. And then I've never done one of these with an air pump. So that was some stuff that was interesting, but I got all that stuff off, put over there. Now let's pull the oil pump and the heads. If your cams don't turn freely, you got a problem and you might need a head. Now's a great time to check valve adjustment. Looks really good. Don't need to mess with anything in this head. Intake should be 7 to 10, exhaust should be 12 to 14. We are good. Now that means I gotta mark every bucket and put them back exactly where they are so I don't mess with the valve adjustment at all. Heads look great as far as the machine work. The head gasket was definitely holding, and that's factory machine work based on what I can see. Looks like factory head gasket to me. Anyway, I got to repeat the same cycle on that head and do the valve and record the valve adjustment as well. So let's get it done. Valve adjustment looks good. We are at 8s all across the board on the intake, 11 to 13 on the exhaust. Good to go. Now, these exhaust valves are all white, just like this one. So the oddball is the black one. We either have broken ringlands on this cylinder right here, which is passenger front, aka number 1. More than likely, this is our failed cylinder. Here's all the head stuff, by the way. I tagged all the driver's side with D's. Cams are labeled, but there's a bunch of carbon on them, so it's hard to see. So I have all my stuff in order, so I know, but there are markings on it if you want to dive into it. Here on this head, we have 615, and that correlates with all our caps, including those ones. They're tagged intake and exhaust with I's and E's. If you're unsure, make sure to mark everything, but I've done so many of these, I know that everything's marked. The only thing that's not marked are the rods. And we pulled those covers in the rear back here to pull the wrist pins. That was at the point where I wasn't planning on splitting the block. I generally don't take out those covers. I generally only pull the front ones, and I slide all my wrist pins in from the front. To do that, you got to install the back pistons first, but then I don't have to reseal any of the rear. Anyway, all that's kind of out the window. We got the plugs out now, But I am gonna show you guys my hack to not mess with getting the pistons out and the rods. I split the case as is pretty much. It's kind of an ordeal, but if done correctly, it's way faster than messing with any of the stuff. The wrist pins are hard to get out because they're carbon loaded. You gotta like snake a rod through and tap them out, and it's just a pain in the ass. The first time I showed Jorge, who has built plenty of Subarus, this trick, he was like, what the heck? So I'm gonna show you guys it so you know. If you're cranking these things out like I used to, it saves you a lot of time. I was building at least 2 Subis a week. I'm gonna put this on here and we'll get into it. Now, tang orientation matters, aka which way the rod is. Major, it's like offset, major thrust. I don't know, some stuff I was told millions of times at the machine shop, didn't care though. I do know that for Subarus, all the tangs go to the driver's side. Look, Subaru tangs to driver's side. And it also says, Jorge's rules are don't forget to remove all the bolts, which we're gonna put that in play right now because Jorge was trying to split one of these cases and forgot this 10 millimeter right here. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that 10 mil before we forget. The weird part about the rods is because 2 rods go this way and 2 go this way, they kind of are opposite. So the way I mark them, all go to the bottom when assembled, because I'm gonna mark them right now through the bottom. Now you want a 12 mil with whatever will interlock to give you more leverage, and we're gonna get whatever bolts we can get to. So we'll crack these 2 rod bolts. Jorge's 10 millimeter. The block will not separate if you don't take this out. Fun fact. Now we rotate so we can get to the other piston rods. Now number 1, you cannot get the bolt off of. So we got to hit both of those from the top. Try to orient it so you can mark both. It turns good though. I think we're in good shape. Like I didn't drive it quite too far. There's this bolt here, and there's one back here, which we took out earlier before I put it on the stand. Now, this is where my trick comes in. We're gonna split the block, and since we couldn't reach number 1, the crank's gonna stay with this side of the block, and we're gonna pull off that side of the block. So we'll go to the back, and now watch this gap right here. There we go, we're separating already. That's a good sign. Light taps, nothing crazy. Give it a little love here. Actually, you weren't supposed to hit there. I'm just stupid. You're supposed to hit here because there's a dowel pin right here. And you want to put this in. And yes, if you deform it, this is where your AC compressor mounts, so you will file it flat with a flat file. We're gonna turn our crank to the right position to get to the rods we want, which it is right now. They're at the top. Now drop it on a hammer. I'll put one under the rear too. Oh. Then Okay, I can get to one, then I'll rotate it a little and get to the other. Now we got to get to that one back there. Oof, yikes, oh my God, that's not good. We want number 4 up. Congratulations, the block should now split. Oh, the rear main's just holding it. There we go. Right, pull the rear main. And that is the importance of marking your rod caps. Now we have a 2 and a 4, and we have everything marked so we can put everything back together. I'm just gonna throw these to the side. They all need to be cleaned. But that is a lot easier if you've ever had to pull the wrist pins on Subies. They suck. It's a lot easier. Then you can just slide the pistons out like that. And we can look for broken ring lands. I think it was number 1 that we suspected. This one's good. If you're familiar with engines, you can already see our problems as to why the engine stopped running. We seized the main bearings. Well, I did, driving the crap out of it. Look at all these twisted. So I'll show you the rest of the carnage here in a minute. I want to see number 1, see if we got broken ring lands. Interesting. I don't see broken ring lands. All right, well, there it is broken down. If you've ever pulled a Subie apart, you'll know that what I just did is way easier than messing with those wrist pins. I'm surprised to not see broken ring lands. I'm gonna give these things a better inspection. Right now, I'll just show you guys our worst damage that I can see is, since it tried to spin the mains, it drug the tangs into the block. And it literally was spinning the mains. Actually, this is our worst right here. Is that a dire issue? Questionable. I'm gonna spend the next few minutes just analyzing. We were having seals blown out, so something was positive crankcase ventilate, positive pressuring. Something was pressurizing the crankcase. We have to figure out what, or else there's no point in putting this motor back together because it's gonna do it again unless we can pinpoint the problem. Okay, well, ringland is fully intact on number 1. So how is the oil getting in it? I guess I will inspect the head and the intake and see if I can find anything, because this doesn't look like anything catastrophic failed. I went ahead and popped the valves out. Hopefully you guys can see why steel tables are so nice doing engine work. I can't see anything obvious. The valve seals seem okay. The guides seem not the best, but not terrible. I was thinking it could be the PCV system. I bought one from Subaru, expecting to do this job because I saw they had some ghetto stuff on there. And I was thinking maybe it was this setup if there's no check valve. And actually, could it be? No. Let's go take a look. So there's a check valve that won't let it go this way. I tried sucking on this. Shut up. And no air will come. Shut up. So if air won't go here, where did this thing go? To right here. And this here goes to pre-boost. So that shouldn't be pressure. Something blew out that front main. I have to figure out what. And that cylinder 1 looks weird. I'm confused right now, but it has to be diagnosed before it gets put back together or it will do the same thing. It's currently late. I don't know. 1 in the morning, so solid 10 hours since I started pulling the motor. As much as I could keep going, I think a little sleep might benefit me to just take a break and come back tomorrow and finish the diagnosing process. I should have paid attention to which way those rings were if someone put rings in it, but this motor doesn't look like it's been apart ever. I'm gonna get some sleep. Tomorrow, gotta figure out why this thing is pushing positive crankcase ventilation. See you guys in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Back on the Subaru. All I did was clean up a little bit. Threw the rods out of the way for now. Let's focus on the block. This is where the worst of our damage is. It's actually on the front. So our front main tried to spin. It actually succeeded pretty well at spinning. So that's not good. I'm going to have to file all this, get this down so that it's not crashing into the bearing. I don't think it spun on me, actually. I think it spun before because the oil pressure was a little weird, but it was there. And these are full groove behind the main. So the oil flows behind it and gets to these holes, and it was still allowing it to travel, just not at the ideal volume. So yeah, just clean those up and call it good. Now let's look at the bearings. This is some of the worst bearing fatigue I've seen since I worked at the machine shop. These things got roasted. I cannot believe it didn't spin a rod bearing. Some of the fatigue on like this one is ridiculous. That thing was delaminating so hard. This one's not much better. You can see all the cracks from the heat. The crankshaft looks good, which is a miracle. Yes, we have some grooving, but I don't like to use that word grooving. What we have is the tolerances have been loosened because it's a high performance race motor. Yeah, that's a fact. So what's critical are the rod journals. It wasn't banging. All of them look good. The mains actually look worse, but mains are whatever. The crank just floats in a perfect circle, ideally. Just gets pushed a little bit. So I'll polish those grooves a little bit, and that will be good to go. What have I diagnosed? I have removed the exhaust valves, and when doing so, the whiteness that was missing, which was scaring me, kind of came out from the compression, the valve spring compressor pushing on it. So what I'm thinking is that was leading me on a ghost chase. Cylinder 1 was just eating all the oil. Why was it eating the oil? Well, if we trace how the boost flows, it goes in that way, and the main path is that way to cylinder number 1. The air can make turns sharp and stuff. The liquid likes to go straight. So all the oil was getting pushed to cylinder number 1. We didn't have broken ring lands. We did have positive crankcase pressure. I'm thinking PCV valve. I've traced every line on that intake. Everything looks good. All the valves look good. All the seals have some tension. Everything looks good except for this weird ghetto PCV valve that you can blow past. It's not much, but you can. And if it's pressurizing the crankcase, which that front seal moved out, it's going to push on the valve seals and push oil past the valve seals. So it would have been burning through all the valves. And on the test drive, I actually went past my house because it was acting so good. I wasn't convinced. I was like, maybe the oil's just clearing up. So it was clearing up, definitely. I left the intercooler draining. Nothing came out compared to last time. Okay, like residual. Nothing compared to last time where there was a lake in there and a lake in the throttle body. All in all, I think we're in good shape. I'm sending today on 4 hours of sleep because I was thinking about this and doing research till 4 or 5 in the morning. Someone said these screws like to back out and that can cause pressure and push the seal out. I do not see any of that. All of these are tight. I checked them with the screwdriver. Official diagnosis, bad PCV valve, and the turbo had metal going through the motor, and all that fatigue I think happened before. So we're going to do new pistons, new rod bearings, new main bearings, new head gaskets, new front and rear main seal, general reseal. The turbo, I'm gonna try to flush metal out of it, but it's probably okay. It's now has extra oil capacity in the journal bearing so the turbo doesn't blow again. Yeah, that's what it has. I'm just not feeling so stoked today. I've had to deal with a bunch of other issues today, like ordering a radiator for my dad's Beamer since someone dropped it off a jack onto the radiator and maybe broke the intercooler too. Don't know. We're starting with the radiator. Anyway, that was one of the fires I put out this morning. So I'm gonna eat a burrito and go get some main bearings. Damn, the windows are still down on this thing. It's almost like I don't care. What do we have? We need some bearings. Where are bearings? Take this. Oh, we're getting there. Rod bearings, main bearings. All right, this is hustle of the week. I gotta hustle. I'm dying from lack of sleep. So, this is what's happening. I just shot to town, grabbed a new rear main, new front main. I managed to find all the block O-rings in my box of random stuff. So we're good to put the case together. My pressure washer, my prized possession, my Harbor Freight pressure washer. I just warrantied it. It lasted 1 day and broke again. I was too upset to even box it up. I just went and bought another. Yeah, I'm a great customer to Harbor Freight. Anyway, I was gonna not pressure wash this, but I just can't. I have to. So this one had a lot of metal go through it. I'm gonna pull all the oil galleys. This one, these up here, same on the other side, so I can really pressure wash through. So next up, I need to wire wheel all the mating surfaces, as well as pull out these O-rings. Then we're not honing it. The cylinders look not great, but I don't care. They're fine. That was not our issue, was cracked ring lands. So we're just gonna slap new pistons in. Wire wheel it, give it a degreaser bath. Okay. Pressure wash it. Get this thing clean. Move on to assembly. We'll do the same with the crank, just degrease it. Let's go. These are my casual engine assembly clothes. So first of all, I got change. Let's get dirty. It's day 3. That lack of sleep really caught up with me yesterday, and I went to sleep. Anyway, we are on to assembly now. The block is clean, as clean as it needs to be. Crank's clean. Oil pump has been disassembled and cleaned. Here's the pieces of the plunger. pressure relief, whatever. Anyway, I gotta now prep the block. And by that, I mean deal with those markings. I'm just gonna file those out, as well as give it a very thorough inspection and look for anything that I don't like this. What is that? That is a lot of bearing material is what that is. Just wadded into a mound. So definitely want to pull all those pieces out and make sure there's no oil line behind it, but there's not. Make sure that's filed smooth and get rid of that. Hopefully that's an example of how rudimentary you can be. You just got to make sure it's not too far out or it will crush on the crank. Too low is not an issue. Oh my God, that's so bad. All right, I have gone ahead and got all these repaired. I buzzed on them a little bit with the Dremel. Now they're good. It's time for assembly. This is a complete short block just in a million pieces. These are the new bearings. We're going back with all standard everything. Kings, ACLs, eBay special. They work fine, trust me. Got genuine block O-rings. Those seal up the bottom end, but we also use silicone around it. As far as the tangs on the main bearings where it was hurt, I don't foresee it actually being an issue. Yeah, they still press in fine. And the bearing's up nice and tight. I filed it down below it. All that groove behind it is gonna do is hold oil. It's not a big deal. We see stuff in the machining world that is critical and that is not critical. This is not critical. The load is distributed on the main bearing, and main bearings honestly don't do too much. I've reused plenty of sets of main bearings with 200,000 miles on them, and they'll roll till 400,000, no problem. Especially on a horizontally opposed engine like a boxer, because we have forces going both ways and it's being kept like in the center, if you get what I mean. Versus like a V8, you have the loads coming down from the V pushing constantly on the bottom. You always replace them on manuals because when you press on the clutch, it puts load on this thrust washer right here. Also, manuals are typically in worse condition bearing wise because people lug the motors, and lugging motors is bad for them. Revving them out is actually better for them. Engine load is what matters, not RPM. I went ahead and pressure washed one of the heads, got it cleaned, razor bladed it. So we got 1/1000 and a half. Does not slide. If I put the straight edge on it, we can pull the bar, so we're good here. We don't need to resurface these heads. Always razor blade before checking, because if we just throw this on here without razor blading, see, it kind of slides. Once upon a time, I drove up to a shop in Durango and picked up a Subaru with the motor all taken apart, and the shop told the customer that it needed a new block because it was warped 8/1000ths. They even put the straight edge on it and showed me that it was warped 8/1000ths. I took it back to my shop, razor bladed off the block surface, couldn't slide a straight edge. Yeah, and the shop told a customer that. So if you're the hobbyist building engines watching this and trying to learn something, keep in mind, razor blade your surfaces before checking them. Don't just assume things. Kind of like I just assumed the ring lands are bad. However, on that note, I will go ahead and say, these motors are known to fail after turbo failure and turbo replacement. So, part one was me trying to get lucky. If you have a car that is turbocharged, you should consider routine maintenance every 100,000 miles putting a new turbo on it. I'm not saying it's absolutely necessary. I'm saying it can be the difference between buying a new motor and not. I've seen turbos make it 200,000 miles, so that might be premature to replace them at 100,000. It all just depends on so many factors, like how often you change your oil, whether you run synthetic. You should always run synthetic in a turboed motor because synthetic withstands higher temperatures. Turbos produce a lot of temperature. Anyway, I'm gonna get into engine assembly. pieces together and I'm gonna level with you guys again. It does not turn the best. And yeah, it's probably from these front two journals that we're seizing, and they probably need to be filed a little more. So it turns. It's just tight. So I'm going to rip the block back apart, inspect the bearings, clearance some stuff, make sure everything's good to go. It should turn easier than it is. They generally are pretty tight with assembly lube because it's way thicker than oil. I got to shoot to town and grab the exhaust cam bolts that I drilled. I forgot to grab those when I grabbed the main seals. That's how confident I am that I can get this in working order. So I'm going to take a break, split this, get the bearings fitting better, and then we'll continue. Town was successful. I got 2 exhaust cam bolts, the 90-degree for the PCV. These hoses always crack, so I picked up a couple of those, and I got an oil pan as well. I also went ahead and split the block and massaged the front mains where they were hurt. Got it spinning better, so we're good to continue assembly. Next up, pistons. Pistons go in, oil pump goes on. I'll probably do oil pump on the stand, but pistons have to go in before it goes on stand. I guess they don't have to, but they're gonna. The pistons are in. And let me tell you, if you've ever done pistons on a Subaru, that is the most painstaking task right there. Everything from here on should be a breeze. Getting those C-clips in is just a nightmare through these holes here. I just went from the back to show I normally only go from the front so I don't have to mess with those covers, because it's way easier to pop some clips in and then only have to deal with finessing half of them in. Anyway, that's ready to go on the stand now, but it's time to take a break because it's Taco Tuesday. We're just barely gonna make it because this thing decided to get wet and not work. Oh yeah, probably put some more in there. Anyway, chicken's done. Ooh, tacos. These ones got a little fired up, crispy. And shout out to everybody who subscribed so that I can buy toppings for the tacos. Unfortunately, nobody commented to remind me, so I forgot and just bought more hot sauce. I was too focused on remembering everything for the Subaru, totally spaced toppings. I did say lettuce last time. I think cabbage is better, right? What do you even put on tacos? I just put hot sauce on them. This time we have sweet and spicy mole. Oh, that one is saucy. I can't say I'm that impressed by this brand, but I got the Valentino as a backup. For under $2, this is where it's at. Time to seal up the rear covers and get this thing on the engine stand. Now we can go ahead and start buttoning up the rest. I always feel good when an engine makes it on the engine stand, even if it's 1:40 in the morning. Let's continue. Whew, that is complete minus The thing that saves the engine. I really don't want this engine to blow up, so I bought a Fram. Well, here we have the complete short block. New pistons, standard, new oil pan, Fram so it doesn't explode. Gone through oil pump, just made sure it was in good shape. Cleaned out all the metal. Oh, that was a lot of work because I had to pull it apart to make that crank turn a little better. We're doing pretty good. It is currently 2:40 in the morning. So, let's continue. Put a long block together. Side 1. Side 2. Head number 2 got me. It is back off. And there are the threads for a head bolt. So that's tight. Super sweet. It's 3 in the morning. Now it is sleepy time. And then I'll see if I can get up at 8 in the morning and go source a thread repair kit for Subaru head bolts, which are blind hole. See you guys in the morning. What's up, bro?
Jesus Christ, Taliban.
I actually remember this from like the last time I was here.
Yeah.
Looks damn good.
65 Impala.
So they're doing body work and all this stuff, I guess.
You thought I was slow?
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Got it all painted good.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. What is this thing?
It's an oddball. It's a 1959 GMC step-side pickup truck.
Cool.
And they put a Pontiac engine in it for 3 years.
What?
Yeah, it's a 336 Pontiac.
Huh. So that brings us to why I'm here.
Oh God.
Timesert head bolt set.
What about it?
Can I borrow it?
For what?
Subaru.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
Oh, no.
Can you get me one?
I make everybody buy it.
Do you know who has one if you've sold a couple?
Oh, I know Dave in Eldorado just got one because his mechanic just fucked up the block.
So Dave might have
And
one.
Dave goes, how much? I said, I told you how much it was. He didn't believe me.
No, I know.
It's like, dude, they're 6.5.
Yeah, I know.
And that's Amazon.
Yeah, no,
They were $480. They are now $640.
So I found it last night for $6 with 80 overnight shipping, but I can't find it. It like disappeared overnight. They're M11 by 1.5, right?
Yeah. No. Is it 1.5 or 1.25?
I think it's 1.5. Might be 1.25. I have a bolt here with me. But darn, I was hoping you have it. So Dave...
No, I've got all kinds of the other ones too.
Right, but you don't have the Subaru one.
No.
Crap, Dave has it?
Dave's got one.
Okay, so quick question, which you're going to call me an idiot. Diesels. Head gasket thickness, super critical, correct?
Yeah.
Super critical. So what happens if, let's say, your stock gasket is 61 thousandths and you put a 71 on it? Would it run?
Oh, it's going to run. Yeah, I mean, you've got lower compression, and at this elevation, it's going to be harder to start.
Right, because my skid steer, I replaced the head gasket on it. It won't start with the shit.
Yeah, diesels, they don't like this.
Okay,
man.
so my Cummins had a 61. I put a 71 on it. I couldn't get it to start. I took it all apart, but then it turns out there was 16 issues I found.
Yeah, the problem with you don't have a common rail, do you?
No, I have a no
P-pump or something.
P-pump, yeah.
That's the good one.
That it is the good one, but I think my
common rails are a fucking turd.
No, yeah, for sure. I don't even like the 24 valves, but
No, they're junk.
I might P-pump a 24 valve because my truck still doesn't run worth the fuck. So valve recess is critical so that you don't have piston to valve interference, correct?
Well, if you mill it, and you don't recess the valve in enough, then yeah, you got a problem. See, this is what happened to the motor from the ski area.
Yo, that's fucked up, bro. How'd they do that? That was like it was on one of their lifts, right?
Yeah, it's a Palmer lift up there. You know what happened? And I thought it's because they ran it out of oil.
What?
There's a drive unit shaft It drives the tack drive that comes down, and also drives the tack, drives the cam. The cam drives the tack and drives the oil pump. You know, kind of like these things where they have this bevel gear.
Yeah.
After finally 30, 40 years, the hex inside
wore out.
Yeah.
So it lost.
I was thinking,
it lost oil pressure because the oil pump stopped
the guy
driving.
said he was checking it, and I thought, no, you didn't. You ran it out of oil.
Right.
I mean, this doesn't happen unless you run it out of oil.
Right.
And I pull the pump and I call him up. That fucking little gear was $480. I had to get that out.
I mean, if you look at the 12 grand they spent here, that's
20,
cheap.
20
oh,
grand.
sorry. You see my point though.
Yeah. Well.
So check it out. This is my Cummins.
Oh, right on.
It's a rollback tow truck, and that's towing a Don's Wagoneer.
Guys, how much
Someone,
worth now?
what, the Wagoneer?
Whoa!
So he traded a Subaru that he did head gaskets on for this thing. So he had me tow it because he thought the fuel pressure regulator was bad. Someone siphoned all his gas and it was out of gas, dude. Oh, it was so fucking funny though. We get it there and he's trying to start it and he adds gas and it starts up and I'm like, bro, I just towed this thing for that reason. I was pissed. $700 and you can have it tomorrow, or is that seven? That's seven with
$700 plus another $12-15 freight.
Okay, cool. Let me run to Dave. If Dave won't overnight it, or sorry, if Dave won't loan it to me, I don't really have a choice. Oh, you're here in a bit. Thank you.
Call the whip. I just missed your call.
All right, see you later. Okay, well, we struck out at Santa Fe Auto Machine for the head bolt repair kit. Luckily, he told me what shop has one, so I'm gonna go see if they'll loan it to me. And they used to sell me a lot of cars, so I have high hopes for this.
You looking for cars?
Not this time, actually. Why, you need to get rid of some cars?
Like 20 of them?
Oh my god. Okay. We'll put a pin in that and I'll come back next week.
Okay. So what did you need?
I need a tool that I heard you guys have.
Okay.
Is Dave in?
He is. Let's go get him.
Sweet. I mean, I can just go find him. I don't want to interrupt your lunch.
Okay, find him.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Is Pops in or nah?
Yeah, you good.
Oh. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
You know, keeping busy.
Nice.
Doing cleanup.
Yeah, well, you got to be clean to be efficient, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm just messing with the Subaru and it's biting me, and I'm hoping you can save me.
What's up?
You got the time cert kit for the Subaru head bolts?
How many you got, bro?
I got 2 in the center.
Oh, the center ones.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Not torque them right?
I can't say, to be honest. All I know is the threads are not in the block anymore.
Yeah. Well, give us a lot of money to borrow our cert kit.
I appreciate it a lot, guys. Got the kit. Let's go fix some head bolts. First things first, I need breakfast. And the kitties did not eat this taco. It's a little crispy, but it's like a tostada now. I'm not gonna bother showing y'all since most of y'all will never do this. If you do have to do it, there's a very good instruction manual in it. And this is the part number for Subarus. That's a $500 to $700 kit. So very grateful that people will loan me this stuff. There is a $150 rental fee on this for doing 2. I told them I'd also buy them 2 more certs because I don't like messing with shops' future business, if that makes sense, because I don't like it when people mess with my future business. So I treat them the same as I would like to be treated. Anyway, I'm going to finish my tostada and pop some new threads in this block. Just to show you guys real quick why this kit is so great. These certs, they straight up never come out once you put them in correctly. They're shelved. They're just meant to do. You run them in with thread locker. These things are good forever. And if you really think about it, what you're doing is your threads were this big in aluminum. By going to a bigger thread, and this is a steel insert, you're adding mechanical advantage of bigger diameter in the aluminum. So you can hold more torque with these, even with the same size fastener. It's just the way the physics work or whatever. Threads are repaired, and in about an hour. The shop I borrowed it from, they let me know it took them 3 hours to do one hole. I used to do this for a living at a machine shop, fix stuff that people broke. So for me, it was super fast to bang out two. And I'm just letting you guys know in case you do get into this, if you do all 12, it's an all-day project. But this time cert kit is just what you need. I was actually just showing a Subaru the other day, and I met the dude at a shop, and he was looking at a Subaru they had for sale, but they had the motor out, and they were in the process of ripping all the internals out and putting them in a different block because it pulled a thread. So there's shops that will say you need a new engine over a pulled thread when they can just buy a $700 kit and repair it. Time cert almost makes that stuff foolproof. It does say on it for, oh, I gotta put the instruction sheet back in. It does say on it for thread repair experts, which you don't have to be an expert, you just gotta use common sense. The issue is a lot of people nowadays lack common sense. Anyway, it's almost 4. I want to try to have them their kit back today so I can get squared up with them. They also want me to swing by next week and help clear out their lot. I used to just swing by years ago and buy like 4 cars at a time. So Sharon was super excited to see me, like, ooh, because when you have customers that just have broken cars, abandon them, or what the customers generally do is they're like, I don't want to fix it, and they give the shop the title, then the shop just sells it to me, and I just fix it and sell it. So I was going to run the set back while the thread locker sets up a bit. I'm going to torque the head on before I take that kit back. Because if it pulls another thread and I returned it, I'm going to freak out. Let's see how this goes.
That was quick. It worked?
That's what my ex tells me. Yeah.
That's why she's your ex.
Yeah, I got him fixed. I'll throw this in the back with Dave Jr.
Yeah, I'll give it to David.
Got him done? Hell yeah. What's up, bro? Where do you want this? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, I'm torquing the heads on before I take this thing back. Fuck that. I dropped a cert, so I owe you 3 certs, but I'll get a pack of them and bring them. Well, thank you so much, man. You saved the shit. You saved my ass, honestly. The European market?
Beautiful MG
That thing?
Bucks. It's all
$800.
yours. That's what I got in.
Oh, my God. You have a title?
Yeah, I just
Oh.
for to sit here and
Bro,
rock.
are you serious? This thing's sick.
I know.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'll take it. Another day, back on the Subaru. I just got to do all the top ends now. Long block is complete now that the heads are on. I did dig around looking for another oil pump. I am a little worried this one's going to blow out the front seal again due to oil getting past it. When that happens, I will replace the oil pump. As of right now, we're going to send it and see if it does it. It might not. And this time, I put the seal in dry. I normally lube them with like Windex or spit. But this one, I put it in dry, so it's going to stay, I hope. Anyway, I did buy an MGB GT yesterday, so that's pretty cool. I actually had to look up what it was today because I heard MG GT and didn't really check anything, which is how I acquire most of my cars. I know so many people in this industry that someone's like, hey, I got some for you. And then they tell me a stupid low price, and I don't ask questions. I just buy it. So I'm pretty honestly stoked on that. An MGB GT, that's sick. I can't wait for that thing. Back to the Subaru. We got some scoring in the heads, but it's not bad. The cams turned fine. So once again, just race clearance to hold more oil. You do want to inspect all your cams because, like, that's a bunch of metal. So I'm nice and organized, ready to go together. Got my new parts organized, and I tried to start sorting this out. Can't make sense of any of it. And when that happens, you just plug along and it will start making sense eventually. Time to get high on brake clean, making sure there's no metal in these, and seal up the long block. Also, the reason you mark these, that's 500, 495, 492. So if you mix these up, you will alter your valve adjustment. Mine looks good, so everything needs to go back exactly where it came from. I did not buy Subaru gaskets for the valve covers because, well, this is a low budget build, and you know, if it goes wrong, I don't want to be out a bunch more money, so it's getting the Permatex treatment. That is it, complete. We are sealed up long block wise. I'm stoked. We're good. Obviously, I still got to do all the dressing. So like I said, my main focus was filming the long block work. Now I'm going to get it dressed and we'll pop it in the car. Buttoned up. That took way too long, but it's done, and that's really what matters. I went ahead and put the whole exhaust system on. That way I could get the turbo set, get the new inlet tightened. I changed out the inlet. The previous dude that put a turbo on it destroyed it, and I threw some silicone on it because I kind of didn't think just throwing a turbo on it was gonna work. So I ordered the inlet, sent it in video one, had the part on hand. Also, I got the inlet by VIN. I got the PCV valve by VIN, and it didn't work. So I had to buy a longer 3/4 hose and extend it upward and then trim off this one. But I got that all set up. Now it's gonna make it very hard for me to get the torque converter bolts, but I can just pull this hose off if it's in my way. She's ready to rock. There's a complete package. So, as you can see, I'm layered up because it's going in. It's a little cold outside. But tomorrow's my boy's birthday, and we're playing disc golf at 9 a.m. And I want to drive the Forester XT there. So, this thing needs to go in tonight and get fired up. Obviously, these are super simple to throw in, and you can start them open loop. So I'm just going to toss it in and make sure it runs before I put any of the front stuff on. Open loop is no intercooler. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor. So, give me a few minutes, and we'll fire this thing up. Hydraulic ram is frozen. Believe it or not the first time I've encountered this. Whew, okay, 214, got it all buttoned up. I didn't start it open loop. I just said, screw it, I'm gonna put it all together. If it goes bad, I'm gonna sell the car and not care. So let's see what happens. What am I doing? I'm forgetting something. What is it? Toothbrush. Good morning, everybody. I am late. A little bit. Classic running off. No sleep, but that's chill. The car seems to be running good, minus that little piston slap you can hear. Which, honestly, that's pretty common in Subarus in general. And I didn't check clearances, so I'm not really too concerned about it. I think we got a fixed car. It's still smoking pretty bad. I believe there's oil flooded in the exhaust, so we're gonna not worry about it, and it's gonna stop smoking.
Bluetooth mode.
So, I'm off to my friend's birthday, and we're gonna play some disc golf. Should be a good morning. Runs good. Just smokes. It'll go away though.
There you go. What the fuck?
Nice. All right, we made it home with 100 miles on the new engine. What are my thoughts? Well, let's talk about it. The car runs great. I'm stoked. It's fixed. However, I was wrong on the ringlands. It was not the ringlands that was the issue. Honestly, the exhaust was just flooded with oil from the turbos that had gone out, and every time I would like hit the brakes, the oil would slosh into the catalytic converter and smoke out the back. So that's really what we were seeing there. So yeah, I didn't diagnose that right. However, I was right with saying almost every motor that loses a turbo that bad, and especially two of them, the bottom ends go out after. That's why when I pulled back in, the mains locked the engine up. So there was no getting lucky with that motor. Even if I had gotten lucky and sold it, it would have locked up on someone. So beware, after you lose a turbo, you at least got to change that pan like I did in the first video. You got a second pan in this video because it's just so hard to clean out all the metal. It's not even worth it. Now, the motor, how it sounds. I don't know if you guys heard it in the first start. She has some piston slap. And let's talk about why. Subarus, they're very big bore, very short piston skirt. Therefore, they're very sensitive to tolerances. And we didn't machine anything, we didn't hone anything, but standard pistons, they're gonna error on the small side so you don't have a motor seize up kind of like the Cummins was and score a bunch of stuff. So whoever in China is making these pistons is erroring smaller, opting to give you a little piston slap rather than have a motor lock up from being too tight. Loose is safe, tight is bad. That's why all built Subaru motors are loose and have piston slap, because loose lets you run more boost. Boost expands your pistons with heat, then it doesn't lock up. Every person with an EJ255 with built internals has piston slap. So currently I'm sitting at, I just pulled in the driveway, 100 miles on it since last night. Hasn't blown up, don't expect it to. I'm about to drain and do the oil just to make sure there was nothing in there. Almost every time I floor it, it throws a check engine light, and that throws a code for a boost fault. So either the wastegate's not working, that's working, so the boost solenoid's probably bad. Also swung by my buddy's shop and pulled the oil feed line because I got scared that there might be a bunch of that metal in there, and I checked it out, it was clear. I also do drill them one size bigger when I have them apart. I think the stock hole's like 55 thousandths, I go to like 65 thousandths, just to give the turbo a little more oil. Anyway, that's it for this video. That was a huge project. I was expecting 2 days, and that was 5 days. And a lot went wrong, but it's all about persevering and sticking to it and just getting it done no matter what it takes. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't to see my kitty be a kitty. And we'll see you guys next time. Aye! Those claws are sharp. Well, the oil with 100 miles definitely is metallic-y, but we have new piston rings breaking in, so hopefully that's what we're seeing there. Didn't blow up because of the fram, so we're going to change the oil and give it another fram. Oh my god, I just opened the box. It's not even a fram. It's a Super Tech that somebody swapped boxes with. I'm actually not down with that, but not to worry. I got all the frams. Here's the one we need. I'm pretty much sponsored by Fram because all my stuff blows up.